Once a Raider, always a Raider. Latavius Murray, the Tay Train, has reached the end of the line for the final time. That plus more on Friday's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast for August 1st, 2025.
You are Locked On Raiders, your daily Las Vegas Raiders podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome in, Raider Nation, to another edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Thank you so much for making the show your first listen of the day. Definitely appreciate you if you're catching the show wherever you find your favorite podcast or you're checking us out by way of the YouTube page. You know, we appreciate both. Show continues to grow each and every day because of your consistent support and the great job that my man Ari does behind the scenes, making sure we look good and sound good each and every day. We shout him out. We appreciate him. He's on Twitter at Ari Produces. You can hit him up there. You can hit me up as well at your boy Q254. And if you want to be a part of the show, the Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line is for you, 707-654-4693. A lot of great feedback coming up in the show. Calls, texts. Matter of fact, we got a lot of them. Sure, we're not going to get through all of them, but we'll try to hustle up and get through as many as possible as we close things out. Segment number 3 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Segment number 2, we got to talk about the competition, the battles. Training camps going on. 7 full practices are in the books, and man, the competition is heating up. Offensive line, cornerbacks, and even the running backs behind Ashton Jeanty. Maybe behind Ashton Jeanty and Raheem Mostert, but definitely behind Ashton Jeanty. So we'll talk about the competitions, the battles. We'll do that in segment number 2, today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Here in segment number 1, news and notes of the day. And we'll start out, we'll give a little bit of a tribute and some love to a former Raider. That is Latavius Murray, once a Raider, always a Raider. Tay Train is what we always called him. Always fun to root him on. Dude really came on the scene in 2014 when the Raiders were struggling. Derek Carr's rookie year, Khalil Mack's rookie year, and that was the first year that Latavius Murray played in the National Football League, even though he was drafted in 2013. So 2013 to 2023, he announced his retirement on Thursday. He did not play in 2024, but he played with the Raiders from 2013 to 2016, the Vikings from 17 and 18, the Saints from 19 to 20, the Ravens in 21, Saints in 22, Broncos in 22, and the Bills in 23. And like I said, did not play in 2024, but it was put out on Twitter. Jordan Schultz from NFL on Fox said veteran running back Latavius Murray is retiring from the NFL. Former 6th-round pick finished his career with over 8,000 yards from scrimmage and 61 touchdowns, was highly respected by coaches and players. And just for the record, he had 6,552 yards on the ground on 1,560 carries. That's just an average of 4.2 yards per carry for all you mathematicians out there. And he had 1,620 yards receiving on 300 catches as well. He was a Pro Bowler one time in his career in 2015 with the Raiders, had 1,066 yards on 266 carries, and had 6 touchdowns. But I think what most people remember Latavius Murray for is the first win of the season in 2014. Again, the season that he really started to get a little bit of shine and people started to see who he was. The first win of the season in 2014 did not come till week 12. It was game 11. He only had 4 carries on the game. 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, including this carry that happened to go 90 yards for a touchdown against Kansas City. Check it out.
And I'll be there with you. 1st and 10. Breaking free is Murray. Murray's got a clear field ahead. Murray trying to take it. 90 yards. Touchdown, Raiders.
You could hear the blocks up front, and they stoned him. Coming across, that's Michael Rivera once again, and Murray, Jim, young, fresh legs. What we saw last week just wasn't luck. We're seeing it here tonight. He's different, a different type of runner for this Oakland Raiders team.
Latavius Murray to the house. Thursday night football. I remember watching that one. I was in Texas at the time, and man, I was so fired up, yelling and screaming. I think I was at Buffalo Wild Wings watching the Tay Train make his way to the house and help the Kansas City Chiefs lose that first game to the Raiders in 2014. It took till week 12 for them to get their first dub, but to beat Kansas City on Thursday night primetime action felt even better. That was November 20th, 2014. The Raiders won 24-20. Latavius Murray scored on that 90-yard run versus the Chiefs. That was at the Coliseum, and right now it stands as the 4th longest rushing play in the team history. So A lot of respect for Latavius Murray. Always liked when he threw up the T for the Tay Train every time he scored. And remember, in 2016, he played really well for the Raiders as well. And then they moved on and ended up getting Marshawn Lynch, thinking that he was going to help put the team over the top. But we all know how that played out. But Latavius Murray, a guy who very well respected around the league. And this was the video that he put out there on social media. This is the sound from the video he put out on social media announcing his retirement. He did this on Thursday. Check it out.
What has been so impressive about Latavius?
Latavius Murray.
Latavius Murray.
Latavius Murray ran for more than 2,000 yards in his time at Onondaga Central.
On Monday, UCF picked up another commitment from running back Latavius Murray out of Syracuse, New York.
Hand off to LT to the 10, 5, 2, 1, touchdown! Latavius Murray scores with 9:01 to go!
Oakland Raiders select Latavius Murray.
Murray being taken at 181.
He's extremely intelligent, big back that's got excellent speed, excellent size.
The way he blocked, I thought was awesome.
His vision is unbelievable.
Went over 1,000 yards.
It's cool to be out here with these guys and really just share this experience. He's one of my best friends in this whole world.
He's seeing things well. He's making good cuts.
They picked him up out of free agency, then they drafted me. He took me in as a little brother. I highly respect Tay for that. He paved the way for the guys in the room. He passed the torch down. Now it's time to run with it.
I've been really impressed with Latavius. I enjoy our conversations outside of football. Just getting a chance to know him.
He's a fantastic teammate. All the things that we look for in a player he has, and so he's been a good addition to us.
Latavius handled his business. Pro Bowl years in Oakland, so he did a great job.
Really great as the workhorse running the football, but a very good back out of the backfield. And I can't say enough good things about him. Very mature guy. All business, all ball kind of guy.
That's a strong guy, huge guy. People don't want to tackle that man. I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't want to tackle him either.
Murray is one of my favorite guys I've played with. I really enjoy his presence and what he's done and who he is as a man.
Tay's one of the ultimate competitors, and I'm so appreciative of him.
Latavius, he looks like me. He's a big sucker now.
The way he prepares himself, the way he takes notes, I look at things like that, and he's been a good example.
There's a reason why he's still playing.
And then you look at what he does in the community in and around the area that he's from in Syracuse area.
You're the ultimate pro.
Man, he's a pro.
He's a true pro.
Ultimate professional.
Again, once a Raider, always a Raider. Much respect, much love for Latavius Murray, the Tay Train. Again, came into the league in 2013 and did not play till 2014. And that's when you really started to understand about stashing a player on IR, right? And that's what the Raiders basically did. They stashed him on IR, and he finally came around and got to play in 2014. Also, news and notes around the National Football League. Scary Terry McLaurin, wide receiver from the Washington Commanders, on Thursday requested a trade. Adam Schefter said there have been teams that contemplated making a move for disgruntled wide receiver Terry McLaurin, but the Commanders have had no interest in moving on from him. Over the last 2 years, at least 3 wide receivers have requested trades. T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk. None were traded in the year which they made the request. McLaurin is now the latest wide receiver to seek a trade when failing to land the contract that he wanted. Remember, he was holding out. Then he showed up to Commanders camp, but he's not practicing. They're not any closer on a contract extension. He's 30 years old, and I bring it to the table because, well, his name has popped up on the show, on the text line, on the phone line a couple times. Should the Raiders go make a trade for him? I don't see that happening. I know there's going to be some calls. There's going to be some texts. I already have been getting some tweets. Man, the Raiders need to go get this guy at that wide receiver position. But as I talked about the wide receiver position just the other day, earlier this week on the show, they don't need another wide receiver, in my opinion. They already got 2 pass catchers that are capable of 1,000 yards. They did that last year, Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. And then they allow the young guys to develop, right? Those 2 guys already, and we all assume that they're going to have a better offense because they have a better offensive play caller in Chip Kelly. Believe the offensive line is going to be better. The scheme's going to fit the players better. They don't need another mouth to feed in scary Terry McLaurin. Even though he's a fantastic wide receiver, don't get me wrong, he's also looking for a contract extension. I'd rather them take care of the guys that have been in the building handling their business, like a Jacoby Myers, like a Daniel Carlson. Remember, Cash Money Carlson still needs a contract extension as well. He's in the last year of his deal. I'd rather them take care of the guys that are in the building as opposed to going out, making a trade, giving up some draft capital, and also paying a guy to come in. One, it didn't work out very well. It looked okay the first year with Devontae, and we all know how it went after that. I just don't think that they need to go and explore that way, and I don't think that they will. I think John Spytek, Pete Carroll, they're very much about who's in the building, developing those guys, developing young guys, and letting them end up being the really good players. So before you go and trade for Terry McLaurin, I'd rather them pay the guys that are in the building that are putting in all the work, like a Jacoby Myers who had a 0.0 drop rate in 2024. A guy like Daniel Carlson who, when he's on the grass, when you know he's got to hit a field goal, he hits a field goal. You know what I mean? And I know that he hasn't been 100%, you know, and hasn't been the best the last couple seasons, but Cash Money Carlson is still really stinking good. So I'd rather those guys get paid as opposed to somebody outside the building. Finally, I did want to remind you one more time about the open practice on Saturday at Allegiant Stadium. Parking lot opens at 11 a.m. Stadium entry gates open and bag check opens at 11:30. Training camp will actually begin at 1 o'clock, and then practice ends around 2:45. $5 to get in. You can go to Raiders.com and get your ticket. It goes to the Raiders Foundation. Super easy. $5 to get in is nothing, and enjoy checking out the team, seeing how they're building. They're trying to create a game atmosphere. That's why it's at 1 o'clock on Saturday, because a lot of times at Allegiant Stadium, they play at 1 o'clock. So that's exactly what they're trying to do, and you'll be able to see some of the competition, some of the battles that are going on between the offensive linemen, the cornerbacks, the running backs, and more. Matter of fact, we'll talk about those battles. We'll do that in segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Before we get to that, though, I do want to tell you about one of the great sponsors here on the show, and that is Monarch Money. You ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. And man, when you start tracking your spending, you will notice a lot, right? Monarch will let you know how much you're paying for subscriptions. Maybe subscriptions you don't even realize that you have. They'll let you know how much you're spending on rideshare, how much you're spending out when you're going out to eat. All that in one place. Sometimes you look at it and you're like, man, I really didn't need to know all that. That's actually a surprise. It's kind of scary at times. So you need to take control of that. Monarch Money will help you do that. Matter of fact, take control of your finances right now with Monarch Money. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Promo code is LOCKEDONNFL. It's all one word for half off your first year. All right, Raider Nation, here we go. Segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Get into the conversation about the battles going on at training camp. And it's so funny, right before training camp started, we talked about, well, what's the competition that we're going to be looking at? Who is it that we're focused in on? What's the storyline that's catching the most attention? And I said that we'll go into it with a plan, and then all of a sudden something else will pop up, and then that will really catch our attention. And well, just like clockwork, that has happened. Now, it's funny because one of the battles that I talked about before training camp started was with the offensive line. And there is a battle on the offensive line, but I was looking at the guard spots. I had said Colton Miller will be the left tackle, JPJ is the center, and then DJ Glaze will be the right tackle. So it's really the left guard and the right guard. I'm waiting to see who's going to earn that spot. Is it going to be Alex Kappa? Is it going to be Jordan Meredith? Is one of the young guys going to be able to have something to say about that? Is Dylan Parham going to be part of the mix? Right? There was a lot of questions. Caleb Rogers, again, the young guy, the rookie, is he going to have something to do with it? Well, again, the offensive line is the center of attention, but is the center of attention that we're talking about. JPJ versus Jordan Meredith. That is where the competition is really heating up. And the thing about it is, we've talked about this. It's not like this is the first time we're bringing this to the table. We've seen Jackson Powers-Johnson. We've seen Jordan Meredith switch off. One practice, JPJ's running with the ones. Next practice is Jordan Meredith. So I was told, and I thought it was a really good, it wasn't that I was told, it was basically like a suggestion and kind of a wait and see on what the battle looks like. I said, Q, we'll call it a real battle when we see Jordan Meredith or JPJ at the center's position, and then the other guy at the right guard or left guard position. So when they're both out there on the offensive line running with the ones together, because up until Thursday, we hadn't seen that. Well, on Thursday, we saw that. On Thursday, we saw Colton Miller, who's just been extended, right? He was at the left tackle spot. DJ Glaze at the right tackle spot. You saw in the center, Jordan Meredith. You saw to the right of him, JPJ, and you saw Dylan Parham at the left guard spot. So you went Miller, Parham, Meredith, JPJ, DJ Glaze. Okay, game on. Now you have a battle. So this is going to be intriguing to me. My gut feeling from the jump has been that JPJ is going to be the starting center. My gut feeling still tells me that JPJ is going to be the starting center, but I think this is going to be a drag out, really real deal training camp battle, one that we probably haven't seen in quite a while. right? I mean, again, we all assumed that JPJ was going to be the guy. I've heard from many different people because I've asked many different people, what do you think about this competition? How do you think it's shaping up? What do you think the rationale is between Meredith being at the center spot and JPJ now being at the right guard? Because remember his rookie year when he was at the guard spot, he was at the left guard spot. So why slide him over to the right guard spot? And so I've heard many different things, including, well, Alex Kappa just about got Joe Burrow killed last year in Cincinnati. So, JPJ at the right guard spot is much better than Alex Kappa. Jordan Meredith, his best position, because of his body type, would be at the center position. And right now, Dylan Parham looks like the part at the left guard spot, and he's bulked up, got a little bit bigger, right? He played at, 303 last year, and he's listed at 332, and I don't really think he's that heavy at this point, but maybe he is a little bit bigger than as advertised. Again, I don't walk around with the scale. He doesn't really look like he's 330 plus, but that's what he's listed at right now on the roster. So it's interesting how this is playing out. Where does Caleb Rogers, the rookie out of Texas Tech, where does he play in all this? And on top of that, there's another guy that we're not really talking about. Where does Thayer Mumford? Where does he play a factor in this? Because I've seen him lining up at left guard. We've seen him take reps at right guard and right tackle. We've seen him have all kind of different reps all over the offensive line over the last couple of years. So could he be in line for possibly a spot at that left guard position? But there's a true battle at that center position. Again, my gut feeling has always been that JPJ was going to be that guy. JPJ believed that he was going to be that guy when he met Ashton Genty in the locker room for the first time. He said, hey, I'm your center, right? He's been telling everyone that will listen that he's the center. Not so fast, right? Pete Carroll talks about competition. So it could be as simple as that, where it's just competition. At the end of the day, JPJ most likely will win it. But you never know. It feels like Jordan Meredith has a real deal chance here. With that being said, that's not the only competition that we're looking at. Cornerbacks. DeCam Richardson. Remember, he was the 4th round pick, got a lot of burn last year. Remember, he was the guy that didn't really play that well last year, but I said he got valuable reps. Something that you can't teach is being out on the grass and actually getting experience. He did that. And all of a sudden now, with a new staff, he's actually the prototypical type cornerback. He's long and he's fast. That's exactly what Pete Carroll wants. So DeCam Richardson's in the mix. Darian Porter, the rookie out of Iowa State, he's in the mix. And Jacorian Bennett, who was the starter last year, has been running with the 2s and 3s. Right? I mean, he's been running with the 2s and 3s, and we've seen him with the 1s. We even caught up with JB following practice. We actually got to catch up with Darian Porter as well. But Jacorian Bennett, I was really interested in that conversation, because we know that this guy went from being a starter, being one of the best cornerbacks, not on the team last year, in the league last year. And the only reason he didn't finish the season is because he got injured, had to go get labrum surgery, and now he's back, and you would think, okay, I'm going to slide into my starting spot. But that's not your starting spot, and now it's a new staff. So where this staff is more in favor of like a DeCam Richardson type body type, this is not in favor of Jacorian Bennett. So he's going to have to earn everything he gets, whether that's a start, whether that's on the second team or the third team. You never know. Jacorian Bennett could end up being the odd man out. Now, I think he's too good for that. I mean, he's really good. So I definitely believe that there's a spot on this team for him. But it's going to be interesting to see how this battle continues to shape up and what it looks like during the preseason, right? They play Seattle next week. They've got the 49ers after that, and then they close things out with the Cardinals. I think for the cornerbacks, DeCam, Darian, and JB, I think the preseason games are going to be very, very important. But here's me asking the question to JB following practice on Thursday about running with the 1, 2s, and 3s. How does he go about that, not taking it personally, but instead just realizing it's competition?
We've seen you run with the 1s, 2s, and 3s. How do you go from not taking anything personal, just going out there and competing?
Yeah, man, it's nothing that I haven't been through before. In high school, I'm starting 1 year, my senior year, going JUCO, all the time way in JUCO, and going to Maryland. So I always feel like the underdog, and not saying like I'm an underdog right now, but just more so I always had to get out the mud, And man, that's nothing I shy away from. That's who I am. I like to persevere. I like to be resilient, and that's when I see the best JB. When I'm just focused on me, focused on just being present and just control what I control at the end of the day. So yeah.
Feels like it's a Maryland thing too.
Yeah, man.
It seems like all you guys are like that.
Right. Yeah.
I will say, never count out those Maryland guys, right? Those University of Maryland dudes, man, they're just cut a little different. DJ Glaze, University of Maryland guy as well. Dante Thornton Jr., the wide receiver, I know he went to Tennessee, but he's a Maryland dude, right? Those guys, again, just cut a little bit differently. So that's a battle that is shaping up. And then I know I talked about it a little bit, and we heard from Sincere McCormick on Thursday's show, but Sincere McCormick and Zamir White and maybe even Raheem Mostert, man, they could be in a battle as well. Both McCormick and White look really good. They look really good. They both look really fast. They're catching balls out of the backfield. I would say that Sincere has a little bit of an advantage because he does special teams really well. He can return kicks, but besides that, they're very even. Mostert's a touchdown machine, but he's also getting a little bit up there in age. Is there a scenario where maybe he is the odd man out? Like, I don't think so. He hasn't been there for the last couple of days because his wife just had a baby, so they're letting him have all the time that he needs to, help her do what she's got to do and welcome in the new baby, and he'll return to practice sooner rather than later. But, I mean, there's a scenario where maybe he's the odd man out. We know Ashton Genty's the lead dog, but they've got a lot of talent in that running back room. Sincere McCormick, Zamir White, Raheem Mostert. They've got Dylan Lobby. He feels like he's the odd man out unless he can earn his way on special teams as well. Maybe that's how he can, hold down a spot. But sooner rather than later, it's going to become a numbers game, right? We talk about the defensive tackle room. If they keep 7 or 8, all right, that's 7 or 8. Offensive line, they keep 7 or 8, all right, that's already 16. If they keep 3 or 4 tight ends, all right, that's 20. Keep 3 or 4 running backs, all right, that's 24. Like, you're halfway through the 53-man roster, right? It becomes a numbers game sooner rather than later. So if it comes down to a numbers game in the running back room, there's going to be some tough decisions to be made. But those are really the battles that I'm looking at right now to see how these things play out. Offensive line, cornerbacks, running backs. I'm not having a battle. I'm not looking and paying attention. I'm watching the wide receivers, but it's not one of those battles that I think is an intense battle, right? I mean, you got Jacoby Myers, Besh, and Thornton. I think that they're going to be allowed to really work their way into some action. Trey Tucker's been getting a lot of burn, so I can see him technically as a number 2 wide receiver, maybe number 3 option at this stage of the game. Obviously, you got Bowers as the number 1 option. You got Jacoby as the number 2. I could see Trey being the number 3, and then they're going to sprinkle in Besh. They're going to sprinkle in Thornton. They're going to have Big Mike. They're going to, there's going to be other options there. Ian Thomas, right? Another guy, right? He's another tight end. So, again, the number game, man, is going to catch up sooner rather than later. This Raiders team has a lot of talent, but, man, that offensive line, the cornerbacks, and the running backs, that is a real deal battle going on. You'll see it. If you go to Allegiant on Saturday for the open practice, you'll check it out. You'll see it firsthand and understand where I'm coming from. But don't pencil or don't put JPJ on the offensive line at the center spot in red ink right now, because that is subject to change. Jordan Meredith very easily could get that spot, but that's going to be something that we pay attention to every day. It used to be either or, now it's both, which means competition is on. That's what I got for you for segment number 2 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. What's on your mind? Your calls and texts will close out the show. We'll do it next here on today's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Before I get to that, though, I do want to tell you about another great sponsor here on the show, and that is 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape ginger and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, man, some days on the course or off it, you need the extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I am not a good golfer. I let that be known day one. If you invite me to play on your team, you are not inviting me for competition. You are inviting me for laughs. You are inviting me because you think I'm a good dude. I'm a cool guy. I am, but I'm not a golfer. So if you're trying to compete and win, even though somehow I've come out on the winning side of things once, I don't even know where that trophy is. That, and as competitive as I am, for me not to have my winning trophy tells you how much I think we earned that winning trophy. But we do know, man, golf is all about good times with good people, and that's what I can help provide. And also, good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. So right now, if you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use the promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. So whether you're meeting up with your friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Here we go, Raider Nation. Segment number 3 of today's Locked On Raiders podcast. Your calls and texts. Draft that Locked On Raider podcast voicemail line, 707-654-4693. Start things off with a text from Raider Rob in Pittsburgh. It says, Q, Raider Rob from Pittsburgh, do you think JPJ telling Genty he's the starting center before camp ever started has anything to do with the starting center camp battle? I'm telling you, the first thing I thought of after seeing that clip was, wow, wonder what Coach Carroll has to say about that. I really feel like this competition is more of a proving point rather than equal talent. Go Raiders. That's Raider Rob in Pittsburgh. And yeah, you could be onto something. I kind of mentioned that in segment number 2 when I was talking about the camp battles. It could be about proving a point. It could be about, hey, man, I know you want to be the starting center, but this is actually where we see you better. And this is why, right? I mean, and so everyone has embraced the competition. That's the thing about it. Like even Jacorian Bennett, who went from being the 1 to the 3, 2, whatever the case may be, they're not walking around with their shoulders down. They're not walking down with their head down. They're not pouting. Like they're excited. They're fired up. They're competing. That's what they're doing. They're all in, which is, it's not, especially in today's day and age when it comes to sports, it's not always like that, right? In college football, what do you see? The transfer portal. You don't get your way, I'm out. Got to go. Transferring. You could transfer 4 games into the season. Got to go, right? Oh, I'm not starting anymore. I'm out. And that's kind of the mentality now. But that's not what these guys are doing. They're all battling. They're all competing. I've been saying it for a while. They're all rowing in the same direction, and they're all one band, one sound. And that's what you want. Now, it's up to this coaching staff to figure out which pieces fit in where and when, but that's what they're paid the big bucks for, right? That's what they're going to work on. But you could be onto something. It could be proving a point. We will see sooner rather than later. As a practice today at the facility, and then, of course, on Saturday at Allegiant Stadium. So we'll start to learn more. By the time we come together again on Monday, trust and believe there'll be a couple more days under their belts, and I'll have a lot more to say on this subject. So thanks so much for the text. Definitely appreciate you. Up next, got a call from my guy, Vader Raider. He's calling to talk about a veteran wide receiver, and in particular, his thoughts on Amari Cooper. Here's Vader Raider.
Q, Raider Nation. It's your boy, Vader Raider. Q, Ari, thanks for everything you do. Keep up the good work, and thanks again for bringing us along on this crazy ride. Q, just wanted to sort of piggyback off of what you said the other day about not needing a free agent wide receiver. And I just want to go back, like I think it was a couple of weeks or so, you guys on the Raiders Squad show, you and Link were talking about Amari Cooper. And, Link kind of said it best when he said he looked into Amari Cooper's eyes and he knew that he didn't want to be a Raider. And I remember his, last couple of games as a Raider, and I can just remember the lack of effort there. In fact, the one game in Miami, I believe it was, Derek Carr threw a deep ball. And, Amari pulled up and he didn't keep running. And I believe it ended up it ended up in an interception. And that was all on Amari Cooper. So those are some of the things I remember from his last tenure there. So I hope we don't, I'd like to see Thornton and Besh really get an opportunity to develop and shine and see what they can do. I also just wanted to throw a little nugget in here. Devontae Adams is running his mouth again. And I'm going to tell Raider Nation something. If you've got any jerseys left of Devontae Adams, which of course I never bought one because I never bought into it, but I'm telling you right now, you need to burn those things. This guy is terrible. I'm going to add him to the list of ex-Raiders who are excommunicated and no longer allowed. I don't care what jersey he wore as a kid. He is not allowed back in Raider Nation. So if any of you defend him, that's fine. You can defend him. I will not. You don't go and keep bashing the organization a year after you left it. Sorry, but no. Raider Nation, keep doing your thing. Keep working, keep grinding, keep doing your thing. Looking forward to more reports out of training camp. Loving every minute of it. We got to keep stacking and keep grinding and working towards the regular season. All right, Raider Nation, y'all be good. Have a great day. Vader Raider out.
Vader Raider, thanks so much for the call, my man. Appreciate you. And yeah, I truly believe, man, just like I talked about the other day, the Raiders do not need to add a wide receiver. They have 2 pass catchers capable of 1,000 yards, right? And they've got other guys, Tucker, Big Mike, Thornton, Besh, Ian Thomas. They got backs out of the backfield, right? They've got so many options. Why go add a veteran wide receiver? And I know I said the other day, plus where are you going to get a number 1 from? Well, now Terry McLaurin is asking for a trade, so someone could say, well, there's your number 1 right there, Q. Yeah, I mean, he could be, but he's 30. He wants a contract extension, and why stunt the growth of a Besh or a Thornton? You don't need that. You've got your guys. Again, 2 pass catchers that went over 1,000 yards last season, so they've shown that they're capable, right? Not saying that they're going to do that this year, but they're capable. They're good to go. And a better offensive scheme, offensive play caller is only going to make things a lot better. And Amari Cooper definitely is not the guy. And Lincoln pointed it out, when he talked to him immediately, he's like, man, this dude doesn't even want to be a Raider, right? So I definitely don't see Amari Cooper coming back. It is sad, though, when you mentioned about Davante Adams. And I've never had a problem with Davante. I had a good relationship with him. I'm not saying that we were friends or anything, but he always was very respectful to me. I was always very respectful to him, which I try to be with everybody. And for the most part, I think everyone gets along with me in the locker room as well. Never had a problem with Davante, but it's really strange that he keeps talking about his ex. Not his last ex, but 2 exes ago. Like, at some point, it's like, all right, dude, just move on. Like, I get it, right? You weren't happy. Some of that was on the Raiders. Some of that was on you. But, man, it just seems like he cannot stop talking about the Raiders. And then to go and say, I found it kind of comical to say that, oh, I never had a problem with Jimmy G. We just were in a miserable place. Were you? Because you took the check and so did he, right? I mean, you wanted to go and play with the Raiders, and you got your wish. Remember, you grew up a Raider fan. Your words, not mine. You grew up a Raider fan, right? That's your favorite team. You wanted to be on the West Coast so your family could see you. Right, you wanted to play with your college best friend and Derek Carr, right? You got all that, and then all of a sudden you're miserable. So okay, I get it. And again, I'm not saying the Raiders are not at fault at all, because they definitely had their faults as well, including getting rid of his best friend quarterback. But I know it wasn't all rainbows and puppy dogs between those 2 dudes too, right? I mean, give him the truth serum and let him say what's really on his mind. It wasn't all rainbows and puppy dogs with Derek Carr and Davante Adams, and a lot of that was on Davante's side. And Jimmy G signed as a free agent. So if he was so miserable and didn't want to be a Raider, he didn't have to be here. He didn't have to be in Vegas. He chose to be in Vegas. So there's that. It's funny. And you see him on the wide receiver special on Netflix, and he's talking about, get me out of here before I get killed, because Jimmy G keeps serving up medicine balls. He was doing that back at training camp when they had the joint practice against the 49ers, and they had to carry Davante off the field because Jimmy G threw a ball over the middle and just got him crunched in between big dude and bigger dude. Right. So it's just funny, man. It's funny to see that. But again, it's to me, it's kind of wild because Davante never seemed to be that guy in the locker room. He always seemed to be pretty cool, pretty, straight up with us on how he felt. And I know everybody didn't like him, and I get that, but I never had a problem with him and kind of took him at what his word is. But man, he sure is talking about the Raiders every chance that he can. So thanks so much for the call. Definitely appreciate you. Up next, got a text from Bert in the Bay. It says, Q, Ari, Raider Nation, it's Bert in the Bay. Want to let everyone know the nation has gained another member. My second son, Mason, came into the world this Saturday evening. My first son is already saying touchdown Raiders, and they're ready for the season. Got to start them early. Everyone have a blessed day. Raiders is the only option. Raiders is Bert in the Bay. And you're not wrong, Bert. You are not wrong. That is how you raise them. You got to do like I told my boys way back in the day when they were little. You don't have to pull for the Raiders, but I'm young enough to have another. I'm young enough to create another one. If I get it wrong this time, I'll get it right the next time. So they knew what time it was, but no, you're doing the right thing, Bert. Congratulations to you and yours. That's awesome, man. Real happy for you. And what was it? Second son, Mason. There you go. Shout out to Mason. Mason's getting raised right already. It's only been about a week, and he's already a Raider fan. So there you go. Sooner rather than later, he'll be yelling out touchdown Raiders as well. Thanks so much for the text. Definitely appreciate you. Got a quick call from the 626, no name on it, but he's calling to talk about the Christian Wilkins situation as it pertains to Adam Schefter's report when he was on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN. Here is a call from the 626.
Hey, what's up, Q? Just a quick message. I feel that Raider Nation felt that when the news came from Shefty that, Wilkins had a kiss dude on the head. I don't think anybody really bought that. You had a lot of insiders that said there was an incident that happened and nobody really had information. And Shefty got the information. Like, Shefty? Nah, I wasn't buying it. So I think eventually everything will come out. To be honest with you, kind of like gossipy, but ever since Shefty came out with the news from Gruden and which got him fired, I don't mess with him, so I really don't take too much to heart when he has anything to say about the Raiders. So I wouldn't be surprised if his reporting was completely inaccurate. But aside from that, I hope we get past it. I just had to get that off my chest. All right.
Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate you. And like I said when I played the sound from the McAfee show, just a little bit of information. It's going to be a slow drip process. I hate it. I know about these slow drip processes when I was in Central Texas covering Baylor, and they had their big scandal. It's like every other day it'd be like bloop, bloop, bloop. Just little slow drips. It's like when you're laying in bed and the faucet won't go all the way off, and all you can hear is bloop, bloop, bloop. You know what I mean? Like, and it's driving you crazy, but you can't turn the thing off. It's stupid. You try to go and wrap like a towel around it, or you do whatever you can to try to so you don't have to hear that noise all night. I know I'm not the only one. But anyway, that happens. That's what it was like with the Baylor situation. It was a slow drip process, and it went on for so long. I have a feeling this is going to be very similar. We're going to get information here, information there. There's already information that's floating out there. I just don't know what's accurate, what's confirmed, what's not. So I don't want to bring a bunch of speculation to the table. I think that's just reckless. And then all of a sudden, people start feeling some kind of way without actually knowing what's true and what's not. And trust and believe, I've seen plenty of people throwing different thoughts out there and saying what happened and labeling it as facts when I don't think anyone actually knows the facts except for the people that were involved. So thanks so much for the call. Definitely appreciate you. Just got time for two more. We'll get a text from Raider Willie. Say, what's up, Q? It's Raider Willie from the 256 in North Alabama. I was hoping you can give Nation some insight on the 7th-round picks, Tommy Mellott and Cam Miller. I'm sure we'll see plenty of them in the preseason games, but have you seen or heard anything out of them in training camp? Also, the competition at center between Meredith and JPJ. Who's got the advantage in your opinion? I'm reading that Meredith has got the edge currently. What are you hearing or seeing? Hope your family's well. Thank you for all that you do for the Nation. Go Raiders. That's Raider Willie. Raider Willie, thanks so much for that. Definitely appreciate you. Mellott and Cam Miller were both 6th-round picks. As a matter of fact, right? Both FCS quarterbacks. Mellott goes and turns wide receiver, but they actually played against each other in the FCS championship game, which is kind of cool, right? North Dakota State against Montana State. But Mellott's been returning punts. He's been doing that by way of, special teams. He's been really active there. He's a wide receiver, but he's not a wide receiver that I would count on early on. But I do think he's going to make the team by way of special teams. I know that there's a little bit of competition between Mellott and Alex Bachman. I think if it comes down to one or the other, I think that Mellott will get the nod. The Raiders really like him. Again, special teams is going to be big for him. Cam Miller, he's the 3rd quarterback in camp, so he's getting a lot of run with the 3s. And you could tell, what day was it? Not Wednesday, because Wednesday they were off. Tuesday, all these days start to run together. Tuesday when they were in the indoor facility, the 3s got a lot of runs. So I saw a lot of Cam Miller that day. It's like they were preparing for next week's preseason game against Seattle. And matter of fact, they did a lot of that on Thursday as well. They went a little bit longer. Practice went a little longer than expected, and there was a lot of the 3s. And I remember telling Tashawn Reed, I was like, man, they must be preparing for next week when they take on Seattle. So seeing a lot of Cam Miller, I think he's got a long ways to go, but that's what happens when you're the 3rd-string quarterback, right? You're not running with the 1s, you're not running with the 2s, you're literally running with the 3s, and you're trying to get your taste of NFL action. So nothing to come back to the table and be like, man, Tommy Mellott and Cam Miller, they really lit it up today. Nothing like that, but they're doing their job. They're doing their job. They're doing what they're expected to do at this stage of the game. We'll know more with the preseason, and they will get plenty of burn, both those guys, both of them, in the preseason games. As far as the competition between Meredith and JPJ, it's as real as it gets, man. It's real. It feels like Meredith has the upper hand. I know I said that I thought JPJ was going to be the starting center, so I'm going to ride with that and see how it plays out. But it's definitely an interesting battle, and I do believe that when it's all said and done, both guys will be on the field. Week 1 against New England, I just don't know what positions they'll play. But I think that there's a world where Miller, Meredith, JPJ, Glaze, and other are on the field. Again, don't know the positions. I know Miller and Glaze, and then everything else you figure out. But yeah, that's how I'm looking at it. So thanks so much, and of course we'll continue to update you on that by Monday. We'll have plenty to say on that competition. We'll close things out with a call from Raider B in Minneapolis. He's calling to talk about adding a veteran wide receiver, and if you feel like the Raiders need to do that or not, the combo that I was talking about just the other day here on the show. Here he is, Raider B in Minneapolis.
Hey, Q, Raider B here in Minneapolis. It's been a bit since I've called, but listen loyally every day to all your content and appreciate all the hard work you put in. The 2 comments today. One was about that. Just, it's funny. Seems like not very long ago, but probably over 10 years ago, I used the Google machine, starving for Raiders content, found you on Black Hole Banter, and the rest is history. Listen to all your shows every day, including the new squad show. That's fantastic. You guys are doing a great job. So just, wasn't so long ago. There was that one show a week I look forward to, and now I can listen to you on multiple shows a day. So fantastic work. We appreciate everything you do, Q. The other one was, you were talking about you didn't think we need a number 1 wide receiver, and I agree 100%. There's guys out there, but I just think we have what it takes for two main reasons. Jacoby Myers is a very solid player. Many of us have said he doesn't get enough credit, but really solid, does a great job, and more importantly, he's a grade A guy. I mean, you couldn't have a better leader, I don't think. And to me, a lot of the number 1s in the league are not great leaders necessarily. A lot of them divas. So, Jacoby's just fantastic. From day one when he did his initial press conference, and maybe this is the old guy in me speaking here, but I noticed this, and maybe you remember this, Q, because you were there in the room, if I remember correctly. Whether it was you, Hondo, anybody would ask him a question, he'd look you in the eye, repeat your name, and then he'd answer the question, because I think he wanted to get to know all of you. And I don't know why I remember that to this day, but ever since then I'm like, man, he's a good dude. So anyways, I think between having Brock Bowers that can do things that other tight ends can't, and just our solid tight end room, and having Jacoby and the new guys, Besh and Thornton, I don't know. I'm super excited. Don't think we need a number 1 receiver necessarily, what some consider, because I think we have our guy. Jacoby is the leader in that room, and the other guys will follow. So anyways, that's all I got. Raider B, Minneapolis. Thanks for everything you do, Q. Peace out, Raider Nation. Go Raiders.
Raider B, thanks so much for the call. Thanks so much for the compliments on the show as well. Appreciate you rocking with me for a long time. And yeah, man, Jacoby is definitely a stand-up dude. I'm glad you said that. I talk to him almost every day. If I don't talk to him every day, I talk to his dad every day. His dad is at practice every day. I stop and chop it up with him. And you want to talk, you could tell a lot about a person by their parents. I could tell why Jacoby is who he is by talking with his pops. His pops is A1 since day one. This dude, I could tell that he raised Jacoby right. The conversations that we have are never like, oh, Jacoby this, Jacoby that, Jacoby. It's always, team. I could tell why he doesn't have like diva wide receiver type tendencies. You know what I mean? It's never like me. It's always about the team. What do you think? Q, what do you think about Jack Besh? Besh is from my hometown. I think he's got something. I like him. It's the conversation's always really respectful, and it could be easy. I've had conversations with my son's, people on his team or even his coaches like, well, my son could do this. But instead he's not doing that. Jacoby's dad is, like I said, A1 since day one. I feel like I've really got to know him really well. The whole family is super cool. And shout out to Jacoby as well. His girl just had a baby, and so the baby's out at practice every once in a while as well. So I told Jacoby, you got good hands on that football, man. You better have good hands on that baby. And so he just got to laugh. But yeah, shout out to Jacoby, man. He's a really good dude. And then what Bowers brings to the table. So those are two pass catchers that, again, over 1,000 yards last season. I don't think that the Raiders need to add anyone. I think that they'll just be fine. They'll be good to go, and the young guys will be allowed to grow. That's for sure. So thanks so much for that call. Definitely appreciate you. And that's all I got time for today's show and for the week, to be honest. So we'll be back on Monday. I got a text from Brent in Boston. Raider Morpheus I'll get to. Raider Nation Mason out the 406. We'll get to all that. We'll recap not only today's practice, but the practice that takes place at Allegiant Stadium on Saturday. Again, $5 will get you in. So we definitely want you to be there in the building, checking out the Raiders. Go to Raiders.com and get your tickets in. $5. It goes to the Raiders Foundation. It goes to charity, 100% of that. So it's really cool. And if you're there, please holler at me, man. We'd love to see you, shake your hand, say what's up, and tell you thank you for listening to this show that we call the Locked On Raiders podcast. So until Monday, Raider Nation, have a fantastic weekend. If I see you at Allegiant, I'll see you at Allegiant. If not, we'll be back here on the show on Monday, as we are each and every day here on the Locked On Raiders podcast. And we got the Raider Squad show on Monday and Thursday next week as well. So we got a couple shows coming at you right there off the gate on Monday. So I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about on the Raider Squad show and here on the podcast. So until then, Raider Nation, take care of yourself, take care of your family, love on your family. Most importantly, as always, just win, baby.